What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and it's new release Saturday, so it's time to head back to the multiplex. And today we're going to discuss the latest MCU offering, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Palm Clementif, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, Sean Gunn, Will Poulter, Elizabeth Debicki, Sylvester Stallone, and Linda Cardellini. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, it's new release Saturday, so it's back to the multiplex we go. And today we're going to take a look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And as our movie opens, the Guardians of the Galaxy have established their headquarters on a rebuilt nowhere. Late one night, they are attacked by Adam Warlock, a sovereign created by the High Priestess Aisha in revenge for the Guardians previously stealing from her people. After Adam overpowers most of the Guardians of the Galaxy and seriously injures Rocket, he is eventually injured by Nebula, although he is able to flee. The Guardians are unable to tend to Rocket's wounds due to a kill switch that is embedded within him, which they identify as being made by the company OrgoCorp. They resolve to travel to the Orgosphere, OrgoCorp's headquarters, in the hopes of finding an override code. As Rocket lies unconscious, he recalls his past. As a baby raccoon, he was experimented on as a test subject by the High Evolutionary, a scientist who sought to enhance all animal life forms into an anthropomorphic species in order to create a counter-Earth. Rocket becomes friends with the High Evolutionary's other test subjects, an otter named Lila, a walrus named Teefs, and a rabbit named Floor. The High Evolutionary is astounded when Rocket is able to deduce the flaw in his anthropomorphization process, although he is also furious that Rocket is able to solve a problem that he could not. The High Evolutionary perfects the process with Rocket's advice, but then he informs Rocket that he and his friends would not be a part of the new Earth, ordering Rocket's brain to be extracted and the other test subjects incinerated. Rocket attempts to escape with his friends, but the High Evolutionary anticipates this and kills Lila. Enraged, Rocket mauls the High Evolutionary before shooting 3 more guards, but Teefs and Floor are killed within the chaos. Now alone, Rocket steals a spaceship and he flees Counter-Earth. In the present day, the Guardians are assisted by the Ravagers and a reluctant Gamora in narrowly infiltrating OrgoCorp, which is a shell company owned by the High Evolutionary. They retrieve Rocket's file only to learn that the override code has been removed from within. The group speculates that Thiel, one of the High Evolutionary's advisors, has downloaded it onto an external memory bank that is installed on his head. They deduce that this may be a trap, but they set out anyway against Gamora's wishes. They are followed by Aisha and Adam, who are ordered by the High Evolutionary to retrieve Rocket. Upon arriving on Counter-Earth, the team is helped by a family of bat-like humanoids in tracing Thiel to the High Evolutionary's ship. Drax and Mantis remain with Gamora and Rocket as Quill, Groot, and Nebula travel to the High Evolutionary's ship. On the way, they observe that the populace of Counter Earth live imperfect lives. Nebula is forced to wait outside the High Evolutionary's ship by his guards as Quill and Groot board it. Meanwhile, Drax and an unwilling Mantis chase after Quill's group, while Warpig, one of the High Evolutionary's minions, attempts to capture Rocket, but he is thwarted by Gamora before Adam arrives, and, angry that he hurt its new pet, Blurp, kills it. While debating with the High Evolutionary about his civilization, Quill points out the imperfections of his creations. Well aware, the High Evolutionary begins to initiate his planned destruction and recreation of Counter Earth, which will kill all life on the planet. Adam rushes to save Aisha, but he is unsuccessful. As the High Evolutionary's ship enters orbit, Quill and Groot leap off with Theo in tow, safely gliding to the ground and retrieving the memory bank from him. Gamora arrives with their ship in order to rescue them, while Nebula, Mantis, and Drax board the High Evolutionary's ship in order to rescue the now absent Quill and Groot. As Quill's group attempts to access the override code, Rocket flatlines and has a near-death experience where he is met by Lila, Teefs, and Floor. Lila tells him that his time has not come yet, as Quill uses the override code to disable the kill switch and save Rocket's life. Drax, Mantis, and Nebula come across hundreds of imprisoned anthropomorphic children on the High Evolutionary ship before being captured and placed in a chamber with monstrous obelisks. Mantis is able to tame and befriend the obelisks, and the three escape the chamber before reuniting with Quill's group and overpowering the High Evolutionary's army. Kraglin and Cosmo then arrive, and Cosmo creates a telekinetic tunnel connecting Nowhere to the High Evolutionary's ship so that they can free the children. Adam attacks again, but is spared from death by the Guardians. Rocket discovers imprisoned Earth animals on board the ship, including baby raccoons, forcing him to come to terms with being a raccoon himself. He is attacked by a deranged High Evolutionary, but the rest of the Guardians arrive, and together they subdue the High Evolutionary, leaving him to perish on his own ship. The Guardians rescue the remaining animals and lead them aboard Nowhere, but Quill nearly dies trying to cross over to Nowhere, but he is saved by Adam, who has had a change of heart. In the aftermath of the battle, Quill disbands the Guardians, bestowing the captaincy onto Rocket before leaving for Earth in order to reunite with his grandfather. Mantis embarks on a journey of self-discovery with the obelisks. Gamora reunites with the Ravagers, while Nebula and Drax remain on Nowhere to raise the rescued children. In the mid-credits scene, the new Guardians, consisting of Rocket, Groot, Cosmo, Kraglin, Adam, and Phyla, one of the rescued children, as well as Blurp, take on a new mission on Krylor. And in our post-credits scene, Quill reconnects with his grandfather as our movie comes to its close. I should have enjoyed this movie a lot more than I did. This is by and far the weakest entry in the Guardians franchise. Don't at me, it's my opinion. As we always say here on the Casa D18 Studios channel and across the multiverse of media, subjective. I thought this movie was bad. I thought this movie was phoned in. I don't think James Gunn really tried because he sees brighter horizons on the DC front. He's going to be allowed to construct the DC universe the way he sees fit instead of being a bit player in the Marvel universe. And I feel like it shows here. A good chunk of this movie was a backstory about Rocket. And as much as I enjoy Rocket, don't get me wrong, I was kind of like, what the F the entire time. We've spent all this time in this franchise building to Adam Warlock, and I don't feel like he lived up to expectations. Quill and Gamora don't get back together. I understand it's a different Gamora, different timeline. But you would think that by the end there'd be a resolution where she saw what the other Gamora saw in him and they'd be able to try to start a life together. None of that's there. There's been tension teased between Drax and Mantis since the last movie, Guardians Volume 2. That went nowhere. I just felt like this movie really fell flat. The soundtrack was nowhere near as good as the other two movies. I was really disappointed by this. And I was so looking forward to this movie that when the Disney Movie Insiders threw up the Guardians hat for a reward, I snatched it because of how much I enjoyed the other two movies. And then the third movie comes out and it just disappoints. It doesn't live up to the build, the hype, the expectations. You think about the other three in the MCU. You think about the other movies that have gone to 3 and even beyond. Iron Man 3 was what it was. Then you've got Thor Ragnarok, awesome. Captain America Civil War, awesome. Spider-Man No Way Home, awesome. Guardians 3, meh. Avengers 3 was Infinity War, awesome. You know, the MCU has had a pretty good track record for threes. And I feel like Guardians 3 now joins Iron Man 3 as just a meh movie. I'm curious to know what you guys think of it. Let me know in the comments. When it comes to my rating of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I'm giving it 2 out of 5 stars. Again, don't at me, don't come for me. Subjective. My personal opinion, I didn't like it that much. 2 out of 5 stars for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What do you guys think? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. And let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And then make sure you guys tune in later on this evening, right here to the Casa D18 Studios channel, the Jeff Meacham Network, and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media as we once again engage in the Saturday night shenanigans that are open mic night. But oh no, no, this is not going to be your typical open mic night this evening. No, no. Tonight we are going to engage in what we have been pushing and billing and hyping for the better part of a month or so now. This evening, it's open mic game night. We will be engaging in a game, essentially a family feud. 2 teams, the fans and the network people. So make sure you guys tune in later on this evening for open mic game night. And then tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, it'll be time for another edition of the War Zone, the weekly acquisition report, the show where I, the Renegade, show you, the viewers, the latest additions to my ever-growing movie library. But that's not all for tomorrow, as at the top of the hour following that, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, the Jeff Meacham Network, and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, we will be presenting our watch-along coverage of New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong's Resurgence. Live from Long Beach, California. Jeff and I were supposed to be there for this, but stuff happened, life happened. We were unable to get tickets, so it is what it is. But we will be presenting our watch-along coverage of Resurgence. Noah Foster and James Hebert on the call, and we will be a special three-man booth for at least a few matches of this show, as I, the Renegade, joined the team to discuss some of the people who have roots here in Southern California, as this event takes place at the Walter Pyramid of Cal State Long Beach, my old stomping grounds. And then on Monday, we'll be right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel for another episode of Renegades Reviews, and we'll go back to the world of John Wayne Westerns for Rio Lobo. You don't want to miss out on any of that content right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, on the Jeff Meacham Network, across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, Open Mic Game Night, the War Zone, New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence Watch Along, and then another week of John Wayne Westerns kicking off on Monday with Rio Lobo. So make sure you smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed, make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, or anytime we go live, as is the case with Statboy Sports Bar, Open Mic Night, pay-per-view PLE watch-along coverage, etc. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of the MCU, fans of Guardians of the Galaxy, fans of Chris Pratt, fans of Zoe Saldana, fans of Dave Bautista or Sylvester Stallone, or anybody you can think of that would enjoy this content in this video. Share it with them, as it's the only way we're going to keep my visibility up in the YouTube algorithms now that we are in fact a monetized channel right here on the YouTube platform. Thank you once again to everybody out there who joined me and tuned in today. It means so much more to me than you guys will ever know. And I will see you guys next time.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.